Greetings and welcome back to room 303 in our Talks with Walt, as we are calling our readings through the deathbed edition of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass. We turn now to a little poem, With All Thy Gifts. This is poem number 36 of the 38 of Autumn Rivulets. So we're clearly coming to the end now of the collection Autumn Rivulets. And we've commented in earlier lectures, autumn of or related to the old or the ancient, and rivulets of or related to the new, that which flows out of the old. Here we will have a celebration of motherhood and mothers. We've seen this a number of times already in Leaves of Grass. In earlier lectures, we commented on Whitman's relationship to his own mother and the celebration of that mother as being far more important in his life, he said, than his father, who at times he had a certain kind of acrimonious relationship with. Now, our assumptions are that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net. Down that left-hand side, Talks with Walt, again, our playlist. And then you've been with us from the very beginning, and inscriptions all the way through, and including a set of introductory comments for Autumn Rivulets. And then we just finished with music in Dakota. Our Nortons will tell us just a little bit. First published this poem in the New York Daily Graphic of March 6, 1873, and then finally published one other time in 1876, and then finally in 1881 in the deathbed edition. Now, as we turn and look at this little poem, we're going to pay attention to the power of rhetorical questions. You'll remember that the word gifts is used in Song for Occupations 1. You can go back and notice that one. In some ways, Leaves of Grass, and it's always fascinating to get to the end of these little collections. We said this by roadside as well, that there's these special kinds of significances in some of these poems. Notice, for example, the significance of the idea of gifts. In other words, what is it that Leaves of Grass is trying to give to its readers? We'll obviously play around with the idea of gifts. He begins, of course, with America, and as we commented in the earlier poem, just a few poems back in Old Man's Thought of Schools, his use of the word America will be significant. With all thy gifts, America, standing secure, rapidly tending, overlooking the world, power, wealth, extent, vouchsafed to thee, with these and like of these vouchsafed to thee, what if one gift thou lackest, the ultimate human problem never solving, the gift of perfect women fit for thee? What if that gift of gifts thou lackest, the towering feminine of thee, the beauty, health, completion fit for thee, the mothers fit for thee? Now again, this is a poem of rhetorical questions that will begin with the words gift being repeated at least 5 times now in this poem. With all thy gifts, notice America. And again, this is the 65th time in Leaves of Grass that the word has been used. It'll be used 92 times in total. Notice America standing secure. That's significant after our reading of Drum Taps, isn't it? Rapidly tending, that is to say, developing and growing quickly, evolving. Overlooking the world is powerful. And we've commented before that I think the Declaration of Independence was a very important document for Whitman. You'll remember, let facts be submitted to a candid world. The idea that Jefferson will argue that the world is watching America, and notice here, overlooking the world. There's any number of ways to interpret that. Obviously, leading the world would be one of those. And then, of course, the word power is not surprising as the next word. Power, wealth, extent, vouchsafed to thee. We'll see this word vouchsafed in Prayer of Columbus. That's the only time in Leaves of Grass we'll see it used twice here. With these and like of these, vouchsafed to thee. That is to say, the gift. What is the greatest gift of America? And then 5 rhetorical questions. What if one gift thou lackest? It's an interesting way to ask, what's the most important thing? And then in parenthetics, the ultimate human problem never solving. In other words, what is the ultimate human problem never solving? Obviously the question of theodicy reinvented, no question, right? The gift of perfect women fit for thee. And then the dash to make us think of our Emily Dickinson. What if that gift or gifts, that gift of gifts thou lackest? That is to say, the perfect women. Now we've seen this formulation of the perfect man, the perfect woman. You'll remember it from Song of the Open Road, passage 6. If 1,000 perfect men, it wouldn't surprise me, 1,000 perfect women. This idea of perfection meaning ideal. And then he asks again, the towering feminine. And we cannot help but think of Goethe's Faust, and the eternal feminine leads us aloft, the final lines at the conclusion of Faust 2. And we've given full lectures on that at learnstrong.net. The towering feminine of thee. You'll remember the word towering from Song of the Exposition number 8. The towering feminine of thee, again, it's a rhetorical question. What if you were lacking that? The beauty, health, completion is an interesting word. The idea of finishing, right? Fit for thee. And then one more time, the mothers fit for thee. 88 times already in Leaves of Grass, the word mothers has been used, either as mothers or grandmothers, 88 times. So obviously there's tremendous significance for Whitman on mothers and motherhood and the feminine, as he will refer to it here, the towering feminine. Well, what's the point of a poem like this, especially at the end of Autumn Rivulets? And why in Autumn Rivulets? Well, the idea of motherhood, the idea of providing to a civilization, the children that will become that civilization is frontmost in Whitman's mind. So from the old to the new, obviously Autumn Rivulets plays around easily with that idea. At 2a, I think the argument that he's making is that the greatest gift of any culture, of any civilization, and especially of the great democracies, is the towering feminine. That is to say, mothers and motherhood. Without that, and without a celebration of that, nothing else will matter. Now, of course, today we look at this and we go, well, yeah, no done, it gets dark at night. But in Whitman's day, right, when these poems are so popular, it's a pretty radical idea to say the most important thing in our civilization. It's not all of the men, it's not the Edisons, it's not the Rockefellers, no, it's their mothers. That's who we need to be celebrating more than any. At 2b, I love the rhetorical questions and the repetition of gift 5 times. Motherhood is the greatest gift, if you will. And at 3a, well, we can ask about mothers and motherhood, and of course the towering feminine. I mentioned already Good as Vows, but I'd like to as well take us to a title that we love to study, Isaac Singer's The Washwoman. That classic text, the celebration of 2 different types of mothers, 2 different types of women in that text. We've given a full lecture on it at learnstrong.net if you'd like to run that to ground. Finally, at 3b, what is your views of motherhood? What is your views of mothers? What is your view of the towering feminine? And is your reading of Leaves of Grass altering or developing or expanding that view? I hope that it is. Thank you.